Okay, I'm going to try to record what I'm making. So this is a block of an orange branch. I'm going to try to shape it into a small little mallet, like a round mallet, that I want to use to learn to carve. So we will see if I can do that or not. I think I'm going to change my angle here, but I should mention this is a beat up plain marked $2 that I found in my mother-in-law's vacation house's basement. So I didn't even really clean it up other than sharpening the blade, iron, but it's one of my sharper ones right now, which is why I'm using such a big plane. Definitely a cool little branch. See, it's got some eccentric kind of characters in there. Let's see if this thing focuses. A lot of swirling, couple branches, but cracking doesn't look too bad, so maybe we'll be okay. So, getting closer on the bark, but still very oval. I think this end I want to be the handle. This other end I kind of want to be my top. I don't know what I'd call it, but I think I need to take this down, try to round it off from the top, and then from the bottom. Then once I have a pretty good tube, I can start doing the handle and actual shaping. Probably thinking, why am I not taking a deeper cut? It's a pretty shallow cut I'm taking right now, and halfway because this is my only exercise other than carrying toddlers around, good cardio, but partially because this orange tears out so easy and is so knotty and twisty and confusing because it's a branch that the less I take, the less I ruin, and pretty good at ruining it. So I figured take it slow, take a lot of swipes, and you know, maybe it'll be something I can actually use. Okay, nap time's over, so about to go in, but a little closer to round, a little closer to smooth. See really bad tear out around these branches. But next we'll probably square it off, maybe on the shooting board, maybe I'll cut it. Not sure. Get it more round. I'm gonna kind of shoot for like an ice cream cone shape. But maybe not, maybe I'll go for perfect cylinder so I have a really nice head on the hammer. We'll see, I'll change my mind 6 times by the time I get there. Alright, it is now the next day during nap time, and we're gonna resume. See if we can get the rest of this bark off. Figure out the grain direction in some of these torn out areas, and then maybe I can get to the real shaping of this thing. Maybe I'll get to try out a draw knife. That'll be fun. Alright, so kind of marked out my circles for the handle. And for the top, it's not particularly square. I think I'm gonna see if I could square this off with the shooting board. So I have to decide which line is gonna be my reference line. And then that's probably gonna be an utter failure, and I'll probably end up getting frustrated and sawing it closer to square and then just living with it not being a square, because I don't think it has to be particularly square, but obviously it can't be a wedge either. So we'll see that. Oh, and you probably saw me using a little low angle plane to clean up. I like this guy. I think it's like a Craftsman or some, store brand. Yeah, it's a Craftsman, but it feels nice and it's sharp. The board didn't work at all. This is too fat. My board is bad and doesn't have a good place to set a lock on it. So I cut one end flat, did a really rough plane job on the other, but figure I'll probably be shaping with the sanding near the end, so I'm not going to stress about it. So my next step is I'm going to mark in like a handle width, and then probably calculate, then cut the depth for the little knob on the handle. If I do a knob, I'm still not certain I'm going to do a knob. I may chip it off on accident or on purpose, and then leave a good chunk, so it'll probably be like almost half and half, because I've got decently wide hands. Yeah. So we'll get to marking and sawing, and then cutting out a bunch of material. Thinking about it more, I think I'm not going to do a knob at the bottom. Just let it be a handle. Maybe I'll do some shaping to it. I think that makes a lot more sense. So I'm just going to pick my line, cut a curve, cut down with some fuzzy math, and we'll see how I feel about it. And then I'll probably do my circle again and start flattening all this. So we'll see how that goes. So, continuing on my evolution, not knowing what I want to do, I think I'm going to take this thing down to my lines for my circles before I think about the handle. Don't know if I've introduced this one yet. This is maybe my favorite. Found it at distant relatives' lake house before we sold it, and it's ancient. I don't know how old. I should probably do the dating charts. But it's big, it's fat. I think it's like a 4.5, and it just is the smoothest, heaviest. Yeah, I love this thing. Figured I'd check in every once in a while. So I'm getting much closer to my lines. Slowly working my way in. No idea if this thing focuses, but that's my line for the top. That's my line for the bottom. And again, 1,000 better tools than a hand plane for this, but I love planing. Just it's fun. It's satisfying. It creates some really cool shapings. So I'm gonna keep doing it. And once I get to the line, then I'll do my chop. And then I'll sand the top, and we'll be in good shape. So I did some math, back of scrap math for my handle size, and I'm leaning towards about the size of one of my big hammers back there, which is like 1.25 inches. So I got lucky, and I needed to take about a 1/2 inch off for the handle. And I have this cool estate sale saw. No idea what it really is. I think it's for making kerfs for like dados. But it happens to have a stop at a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to use it, and we're going to pray it's sharp enough to get through orange, which it probably isn't. And then it's going to be sloppy, and then I'm going to have to fix it. It'll be okay. So we'll see how it goes. gonna try a new position so you can see the shenanigans that are happening here to get this cut, because it's wrong, but it might work, and that's something. All right, new position. We'll see how this does. So I guess I'll cut a second similar line to make a handle knob, but then make the handle knob like not really be there, I think. Just so that I get the right depth, I think. I think I'm gonna cut more lines around my other saw. So my funky little saw here is kind of binding a lot, and if I look at it, it doesn't really look like it's got a very good set on the teeth. So I'm gonna try to set the teeth better, and probably screw it up. Never mind, I have to take the blade out to do that, and I'm not gonna bother, so we're just gonna put a little paste wax on the blade and force it through. Okay, time to start wasting out the handle and praying that I don't mess it up too bad. Okay, kids are in bed. Gonna try to take away some of this wood without missing my lines too badly. Probably see I'm switching to a rasp for shaking. I think it's a rasp. Whatever it is, it's really handy. The Stanley Sureform State Sale Special. Spent probably $5, no, probably half on that. So I also tried to up my lighting, so we'll see how it helps. I haven't said anything in a little bit, but I used the rasp things to get it down to a rough shape I liked, and then I started sanding. I'm using, well, I got lucky. I had a 50 grit sander belt, and that thing is strong, so I did a lot of the carving with that, and then I've stepped up, 50, 80, 120, I think 220, big jump at the end there. Get this handle really nice, and it feels kind of amazing. So next, I'm going to sand this just into as much of a cylinder as I can, not stress as much about the top as the handle, because the handle's the part that I interface with, and that's all that really matters. And then I will probably just dunk it in BLO and let it set. So here's to seeing if I can make this top round. Call it a night. So the handle through 220 grit, it's super smooth, kind of amazing. The body is just finished 80 grit. So most of my, well, it's probably not going to focus, but it's a really cool looking grain. And it's, yeah, I'm probably going to only go to 120 on the top, because its whole job's going to be getting beat. And then BLO, we'll see what happens. All right, it's a new day. It's my lunch break. I have like 20 minutes to, I think I'm gonna take this thing to 120 grit, round some edges, and if time permits, dunk her in some BLO, so that maybe by the time I'm off work, I could see how she looks, and if I need to sand all that linseed oil off and do something better. So here's to hoping my lunch break is efficient. almost out of time, so I am going to clean with some, what am I going to use? Mineral spirits. And then I think I'm going to dunk it in BLO, let it set the rest of my workday, and pray. Alright, it's then late in the day. BLO's been on for like 5 hours. And this thing is soft. Smooth. It's going to feel bad to have to mar the whole surface, but calling it pretty good success. I'll see if I can take some photos.